Imagine this. It's 1983. You're in a dimly lit arcade, surrounded by flashing lights and the iconic sounds of Pac-Man. You clutch a shiny quarter in your hand, ready to take on the high score. But have you ever wondered, why a quarter? Why not a dime or a dollar? Today, we're diving into the fascinating history of the 25-cent arcade game. Here's a spoiler. It was about more than just convenience. To understand the quarter's role in arcade history, we need to go back to the early 20th century. Before video games, coin-operated machines like jukeboxes, pinball machines, and vending machines were already thriving. These machines mostly operated on nickels, but as inflation crept in, 25 cents became the sweet spot for entertainment. By the 1970s, the quarter had established itself as the gold standard for coin-op fun. So why did 25 cents become the standard instead of sticking with nickels? Inflation played a huge role. As the value of money decreased, a nickel simply didn't cut it for machines to remain profitable. By the 1970s, 25 cents provided the right balance between affordability and revenue generation. So when the first arcade games like Computer Space and Pong hit the scene, the industry naturally adopted the same pricing model. A quarter was affordable for players, but still profitable for operators. Here's an interesting fact. Did you know that in the 1930s, coin-operated machines brought in nearly $10 million annually? That's over $200 million today. $0.25 was actually the perfect business choice for arcade operators. But why? Arcade operators and game manufacturers split the revenue from games, and 25 cents per play hit the sweet spot. It allowed operators to quickly recover the cost of expensive arcade cabinets, which could run anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000. Here's another interesting fact. The game Pac-Man was so popular in 1982, Americans spent $6 billion in quarters playing the game that year. That's more than they spent in Las Vegas casinos and movie theaters combined. Players didn't feel like they were spending much, but those quarters added up fast. In the early 1980s, hit games could generate hundreds of dollars a week for a single machine. So you're probably thinking, if gamers were so eager to play these arcade machines, why didn't operators charge more, like 50 cents or $1 from the start? Well, there's also a psychological angle. A single quarter felt like a small risk. It was an amount people were willing to gamble on a few minutes of fun, even if it ended with a brutal game over screen. This made arcade games addictive and encouraged repeat plays. Studies show that people are more likely to spend small amounts impulsively, hence the addictive nature of slot machines. And this was also a key to arcade games' success. A quarter was the perfect impulse buy price. One more quarter, one more try, you're just this close to beating that high score. And suddenly, you've spent your entire allowance. Been there many times. Did the 25-cent price point affect how games were made? Absolutely. The 25-cent price point didn't just shape the business, it influenced how games were designed. Developers knew they had to hook players quickly and keep them coming back for more. That's why arcade games are often extremely challenging and feature fast-paced action with short play sessions. Timed levels and sudden difficulty spikes weren't just about making games exciting, they were about making you reach for another quarter. If you've made a recent trip to a modern arcade, it's painfully obvious that games no longer cost 25 cents. So why did some games start costing more than a quarter? As technology advanced, so did the cost of producing arcade games. By the late 1980s and early 1990s, some games started charging 50 cents or even $1 per play. The game Dragon's Lair, released in 1983, was the first game to charge 50 cents per play, an early sign of things to come for the premium arcade experience. Games like Virtua Fighter and Cruisin' USA offered richer graphics and experiences, but demanded a higher price. Inflation likely played a part in the eventual decline of arcades altogether. The biggest factor, though, was the rise of the home console experience.
It's thinking.
Despite the decline of arcades, the 25-cent arcade game is still iconic today. Why is that? Well, the idea of dropping a quarter into an arcade machine sparks nostalgia. It's a reminder of simpler times where a single coin could transport you to another world. Retro arcades and barcades often keep the tradition alive, letting new generations experience the magic of the 25-cent game. So next time you hear the clink of a quarter, remember the history, the strategy, and the thrill it brought to millions of gamers.
Yahoo! You're on fire, kid!
So what about you? What arcade games do you remember as the greatest quarter munchers in your life? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this content, I think you know what to do. Thanks for watching, and happy gaming, my friends.